Hi, in today's video I will demonstrate how to restart services in PowerShell. The service restart can be triggered by an event log, or we can check the service every so often to see if it started, and if not, attempt to restart. We will do this natively in Windows PowerShell as we will be working with Windows services. Okay, first thing, let's define the function that takes a service parameter and checks if the service is running. We will call it check service. The parameter will be called service name. We will run the get service command to get service status and assign that to a variable called service status. Then we will check if the status is not equal to running. In that case, we will try to start the service. And let's output some text so that we know a service start was initiated. Starting service name. Service is now started. And if the status is equal to running, just output the service name along with the text service already started. Okay. So let's do a quick test. Let's get the service name for the print spooler. Make sure it's the service name and not the display name. And since the spooler is already running, we should see service is already started. Let's load the function in and test. Okay. Now, if we stop the service and check again, it should attempt to start the service, which it does. You can see the service is in a running state now after a refresh. Okay, let's create an array that will contain all the services that we want to check. I'll add a couple, but you can add as many as you need to check. I'll also add the Apache service, which crashes often on this server. Then we create a for each loop to cycle through the named services. We would then call our check service function. Let's run it. This will not do anything as they are both already started. For this server in particular, sometimes the Apache service will not restart and the server needs to reboot. So in the event the service restart does not work, I want the server to reboot. We will create another function called Reboot Server that takes in a parameter service name, checks its status, and if not running, then restarts the server. Same concept as the other function, but instead of attempting a service restart, we restart the computer with the restart computer command. We'll create a separate array of key services that can initiate a reboot if they are not started. You can use the same array as before, but you might want a separate one because you might not want all failed services to initiate a reboot, only certain ones. Create the same for each loop for these key services, but we want a delay to give the service a chance to start. So let's add a 60-second delay prior to calling the function. So we will attempt to start the services listed in our service array, and then for the services listed in our key service, we check to see if they are started, and if not, we reboot the host. Now, I understand more times than not, you would not want to initiate a reboot on a server if a service is not running. So instead of a reboot, we can script an email function instead that just alerts us by email. If you want to see how it is done, just let me know. But for right now, we have a script that checks if a service is running and attempts to restart that service. And if any critical services are not in a running state, then we reboot the server in an attempt to fix it. So, how do we activate the script to run on its own? We set up a scheduled task that can run the script every X minutes, hours, days, etc. Let's set that up. So let's open Task Scheduler. Now, depending on your particular situation, you might notice a service fails whenever a particular event is logged in the event viewer. So I would suggest making a trigger based on that event. You select on an event. You pick the log, source name, and event ID. And whenever that event occurs in the event log, the script will kick off. But more commonly, you would just want to check every so often. So let's go on a schedule, daily, repeat every hour, stop if it runs longer than 30 minutes. The Actions tab would be set up a little bit differently for PowerShell than it would for a regular bat file. The program would just be PowerShell, but you also have to add the arguments execution policy bypass -file, file location, and then the file name. Check other settings to ensure it is what you need in your situation. And that is it. That's how we set up a PowerShell script to check if a service is running and then initiate some other action, be it a server reboot or send an email or just keep trying. The choice is yours. Thanks for watching. Brought to you by AIP Solutions.